Teresita Blanco Diaz's sister, and we're reading SaturnastraMonkey King. This is Chapter 6, Part 2. After doing so, he whispered to Patty, Don't think that your position is secure just because you're Winston's wife. Patty bit her lower lip, and then she lowered her head, and she sat down and waited for King to stop looking at her. And when she was certain he was no longer watching, she went back to manning the dessert stand. Egg, said Gargantua flatly. I know, said King, shaking his head sadly. 20, said Gargantua. 30 if we're lucky, said King. And after completing their meal, King went with Gargantua to the top of the mini tower, and the ampules were resting there as well, and Rosetta, who was 2 years older than her sister Lita, had painted faces on top of the ampules, and she had also put in now and then different types of doll wigs. And this small change alone was enough to give the ampules a semblance of humanity.
What are the ampules? This is nuts. Okay. I never heard. Are they like pickle work?
No, just the best example. Think of it like something that resembles like a jar of glass with a liquid inside.
Okay, but they're also human.
But their DNA is leaning towards a different side, and that gives them their bizarre appearance. And then they have their skin is more like quartz, and they have a jelly interior.
Okay.
Like a weird amoeba with a tough outer shell.
So we can be either humans or amoebas, guys.
Yeah.
Depending.
It's one or the other.
There's no middle ground.
Yeah.
Okay. We are the sci-fi thing I've seen in a while. Okay.
Aside from King, others started having one-sided conversation with the ampules. And King addressed Rusalka, the colorful ampule, by saying, Did you see anything interesting, Rusalka? Rusalka turned a deeper crimson, but then settled to a low beige color. And putting her period on his ear, he was shocked to hear something that resembled words. It was faint, but he imagined that her period was saying, toy closet. As with other instances, the sound response had been his imagination. Chuckling, Gargantua said in a gruff voice, Coma. King folded his arm as he struggled to get the complete meaning of what Gargantua had just said, and his train of thought was interrupted when he heard a commotion downstairs. And coming down, some of the nobles were striking his brother, and as was his habit, he was laughing at us. So those weaklings were truly trying to hurt him. King opened his mouth to say something, but the words immediately died out, and furious he struck the nobles with his staff and knocked them senseless, and Aredo made a motion as well to explain. But he cringed when he saw the glow in King's eyes, and they had an unnatural cyan glow to them, and the color change was only for a second, and Aredo thought he had seen it in the first place, and hoping that he he said, Must you always cause troubles? This time it was my fault, said he, dusting himself out, and he added, It is best if I go. Take care, little brother. And King was about to protest, but he was gone before he could say anything. And the next day, King did an inquiry as to what had occurred. And the men who had accosted he were one of the many people who had lost family members because of that ill-fated day in Aragon. And even now, he was being punished because of Leo's many mistakes. And to remedy this problem once and for all, King resolved to take his full diplomacy to Aragon in order to clear his brother's name and show that he was innocent of everything that had occurred. So it's like some crazy thing went down in Leo's castle, and then since he was a man that was the dragon and an outsider, they blame it on him. But since he was like...
Yeah, this is previously on Ahi.
Previously in Ahi.
A book that we haven't gotten into, but happened previously to this one. But it's too long to read and too weird.
I'll read it last. Because, Garganta thought of her lips, guessing her companion's state of mind. The following day, he said to his brother, I'm going to leave this world for a while, and once I finally return, you know where to find me. And the dragon's angler retracted, and King hurried out the window and climbed to the roof, and he saw the shade of his brother through the barrier, and the lunar dragon was departing. And once his true body left for real, King went to his bed to lay down.
Alright, explain to them what this is all about, because they needed to read Ahi in order to understand what just happened.
Alright, so like, here's the world of Saturn.
Saturnastra.
And here's the Titan moon, very tiny. And then Since it's like social life dragon, in order to interact with folks, he releases a small angler that has a little human body where he can interact with tiny people, but his true form is like ginormous.
Yeah, he's as big as a moon.
Yeah.
So then when they're hitting his body on Earth or torturing him, he just finds it hilarious because
they're not really there. They're not really hitting anything. They're like just. It's like, this is a real body, but this is what you're hitting. Like, this part over here that's not really doing anything to the main body. And then he's just like, oh, this guy knew just how easily I could squash them. If they only knew. Yeah. So there you have it. Muera lang. So, when Garganta saw him, once he left for real, King went to the bed and he lay down. And when Agatha saw him as thus, she dragged him towards a hot bath. And once inside, she cleaned and groomed him and washed his teeth and combed his hair. And since he was not snapping out of his melancholy, she did what she usually did in this situation. She coolly went towards the fireplace and she took out a piece of burning lumber. And small flakes of fire started to catch on the carpet. And King was already on his feet to put the fire out with his staff. So like, to snap about with depression, she started to light the room on fire. He's just sitting there not doing anything. I know what's gonna get him to come to life. I'm gonna set the room on fire. You lunatic. So yeah, don't have your friends cheer you up like that by setting the room on fire. King narrowed his eyes and then he started laughing and patting her head. He said, "You crazy? Why are you so crazy?" Master Garganta coolly. Indeed, setting fire to something was a test of grit for Nargis. Like most animals, they had a superstitious fear of flame. And after this incident, King did engage in food diplomacy in Aragon, but to smooth out relationship with his trade partner. And now he had about to return to Saturnastra, which was starting to worry King, in part because he felt that the world had been left defenseless without his brother. And Marduke was not too worried, and he assured King that they could manage without him if needed. And Marduke then added, though frankly I would prefer that we do not need to get to that point. Changing the subject, King said, "Leo seems to be holding up better." "Well, he is doing decent for someone who is a curse," said Marduke sternly. "It's a blessing, not a curse," protested King. "But you and I know the intention behind this little game of yours, and frankly I am surprised by you," said Marduke, mortified. "People change," started saying King. "But only for the worse and rarely for the better," said Marduke. "You never failed to lift my spirits up, my brother, and I will give you a call once I hit rock bottom," said King, giving a fake smile. Afterward, he went his way to the dining room, and when the party ended, King was at a loss as to what to do next, and he looked at Pierre's trading map, and he saw the cities and villages marked as friendly. And even with the friendly villages, the Naga had few trading contacts. Humans just seemed reluctant to trade goods with them, and the primordial reason was that they did not respect the Naga's intelligence, and as much as Monkey King hated the idea, he would have to play the court game. And he had his close companions dressed in golden silk encrusted with diamonds, and the fire was on loan from the alabaster dragon Endriaga, and one of her maids had gifted her a fine collection of 50 porcelain dolls with 5 interchangeable attires, and the dolls were twice the size of humans. And for King and his friends, the doll dresses seemed extremely big, and with a few stitches here and there, the gowns looked like they were made for them. So they're like wearing doll dresses, but like a doll to a dragon would be like would be like human size.
Yeah, I'm curious. What is Monkey King's name?
I don't know.
Or is he just Monkey King? Because like
that's what they call him.
Because like even the Monkey King on Earth is called Son Woku. So I'm like curious whether he has a name outside of just Monkey King.
He does have a name, and I will get to it eventually if I remember.
Oh.
I don't eventually gave him a name, but like it's very deep into it. And it's not Son Woku, and he's not that monkey. He's the king of different monkeys.
Yeah. And
also the apes. So he lords over more hairy people and some humans as well. So he lords more than the.
He's got more followers than Son Woku.
Yeah. He also rules over some naked apes. Other humans. Yeah, he had the humans in my tribe. They're a little round. Remember the ampules?
Yeah.
What about human is that?
That's what I'm wondering, sitting here listening to this.
It's like, wow, what did you come up with? Tyrone?
13 minutes.
In this elaborate dress, Skin and his close friends and his core units came to the fair of Praga. They got dressed for a fair. Not enough fair, but, you know, like amusement park or something.
A space fair.
He had not visited Praga since his wedding, and the town had grown quite a bit under the ever-watchful gaze of Iago. And as soon as he saw King, he greeted him warmly and he asked, "How are he and Eleanor?" He started saying, King. Saving the situation, Gargantua said bluntly, he sad, Eleanor dead. How could this have happened? Asked Iago, deeply perturbed. He was not seen for the rest of the day. Like he had given a wife to one of his kin. He had married like one of his kids, but she dead.
Wasn't he married to Brunhilda or Brunhilda someone else?
No, Brunhilda was just like the chick that he didn't marry.
Got it.
But that's still stuck by him like a leash, you know? Mm. And then she'd be like, "Oh no, your wife died. Oh, poor me." I said, "Yes, that's my chance." Mm. That type of Brunhilda. King tried his best to play the games and impress the nobles with his charm and witticism, food and clothing, and fed up with doing things the way humans did, he decided to engage in ritualized aggression. And taking his staff, he entered the jousting arena and brazenly walked over the edge of the dividing fence, and the knights who were about to joust just watched King with bored interest. "Ahem," said King before he started smashing his staff against the side of the fence and screeching towards the audience while jumping, and the audience naturally laughed, but the soldiers of Armageddon grew tense. They had seen the knights before in action, and they knew that was how they issued a challenge before taking down a fort. And after doing so, King stood straight up with his head held high, and he smashed the staff and broke the tip. In front of blossom forth bulbous green bough form, and then another, and the creatures started and became spiders. And smiling, King said, "There's nothing to fear. These spiders are an illusion, and I simply wanted to entice with a bit of an impromptu magic show." And the spiders exploded into many tiny spiders that crawled all over the audience, and they did not feel them, but seeing them crawling over their face was more than enough to make some women hysterical. And others imagined that they could feel them crawling up and down their bodies, and King repeated the same game with snakes and ravenous dogs and birds, and the audience was too frightened to make any sudden move, and the nuggets were just starting to grow agitated and were howling for every so often, and even the dullest human knew that something was amiss. And when King started calling for lightning, he jumped, and seconds later, a jet of icy water shot in his direction, and he saw the red mist at the edge of the forest, and the scraping of the Rusalka, and she was the stronger of his 5 ships, and did not require to be near water to manifest her weapons. And to save face, he said, "Ta-da!" And he swiftly left the jousting arena, and he sat back down, and Patty commanded as the king passed by, "Our king has finally lost his mind." Our king has always had a tad of the insane, but now sat wisdom fearing to say something he would regret, and while King was sitting down, he felt an arm pull him down, and he was soon dragged on the ground, and no one noticed when he disappeared, and not even Garganta seemed to mind or even care to look for him. And while the rest of the night, she hated what he was becoming. And when King became aware of his surroundings, he noticed the floating islands, the sun, and the space, and he was within his domain. In his dragon form, he heard his brother say, "I find you lately to be a bit disappointing, and even the shade I leave behind no longer comforts you." "Damn it, Ahi, why did you leave me?" complained Monkey King. "Because I was your wish, your true wish. Back then, you always wished to get out from under my shadow, and I was your twin, but you hated that I had become my own self," said Ahi. "You knew," said King. "I always known about everything, but I never cared enough to care," said blocking the sun, Ahi added. "I am so tired of killing, so tired of hurting everyone." "So this cannot be helped, my brother," said King sadly. "Exactly," said Ahi, and his anger descended and gave Monkey King a cupcake, and he added, "So stop brooding. You are not Marduke, you are by, say, Halsey maybe, asking tentatively. Meh, said he before returning his brother to his seat. Like he gave a tentative name, and then he's like, my name is gonna be it, and that's a terrible name. Time?
8 minutes.
King was disappointed to know that the stands were abandoned, and it was still noon, so he found that rather odd, and as he walked back to them, he noticed how the humans were cringing whenever he passed by, and the eyes of Veragero would regard him with mild amusement, and as soon as he opened the door to his room, he noticed that something was missing. Garganta's things were not there, and he went to the other rooms, and he noticed that his companions and even their few mounts were gone. And the innkeeper saw King looking about, and he said coolly, "Your friends went on ahead without you." "Did they say where they were headed?" asked King. "No," responded the innkeeper flatly. So, his troops and his men no longer respect him, so they just up and left without him. King left town, and he sat down to meditate at the edge of the forest, and this was not the first or the last time that the Nagas had abandoned him, and this was usually their less and subtle way of calling attention to the problem of their leader, and King's sovereign right was due solely on his knowledge. And whenever he started making decisions that resulted in the harm of his colony, his followers would just simply abandon him. And even Garganta did not have the patience to put up with his tantrums, and winning them back was always such a nuisance. Time, bro?
7 minutes.
The following day, King went to see Iago, and he left him a written transcription of all the observations pertaining to Eleanor's marriage with Ahid, and he did not omit anything since he felt that Iago deserved to know the truth. And with this first action on the way, he made his way back to Lusitania, and he changed form to a gaseous water, and using a waterfront, he cascaded back towards his tower. And he found when he noticed that Garganta was not there either, and the seagulls were there, and they shouted and squawked his arrival to the four winds. And he left the tower and took a small boat towards the mainland. And after a 2-day hike, he arrived at the home of Winston and Virgin, and his clan was normally stationed in the territory during the summer, and it was rare for them to have more, in each clan it was rare to have more than one alpha or beta. However, since the twins were in equal strength and mentality, they often acted as one, and King found King both admired and envied their bond, and he wished that he would have a similar relationship with his brother Ahi, who had become so different from him, and he as well. When Winston saw King, he asked, "So, Abel, what brings you to our tribe today? Do you come hither to offer tribute, or do you desire permission to mate with one of the lesser females?" "I grow so tired of these little games of your wisdom," said King coolly. "We gave you more than enough chances to prove yourself, and that little stunt you pulled in the games was crossed the line," said Virgil. "Since when do you care about humans?" said King. "And you know as well as I do our opinions about our high and mighty cousins. Now, our problem is with you. Your behavior was too human for our taste, so we decided to exile you, just like you taught us," said Wisdom. "So how can I prove myself that I am no longer human?" asked King. If you were a true Naga, you would not be asking that question, my dear Abel. Before you came, sure, we struggled, but we clung to life by our instincts alone, and our ancestors survived, and we will do the same without you. We do not need you or your knowledge," said Winston sternly. "You can't be content with just surviving," snapped King. "Why not? It is fun to be alive," said Winston. "Because, I'm not in the mood for this," said King. Annoyed, and he summoned up flames, and the fire burned the tree and almost touched Winston's toes, and King yelled, "Obey me or perish." Jumping from the tree, Wisdom and Virgil said, "That's not going to work again, little Abel," and the two brothers leaped from fire to fire, and they started beating Monkey King senselessly, and the magic faded as he protected his face and arms from the onslaught, and otherwise he screeched most pitifully, and he could never handle such open confrontations, and even with his magic and foresight, his twin opponents were unpredictable, and the twins stopped when they heard the howling of Gargantua, and despite her more stature, the twins respected her strength. The twins dusted their former king off, and they set him up straight, and while other than scratches and bruises and a healthy dose of pinching, the twins had not done much damage, and they were experts in the delicate art of ritualized violence, and when King saw Gargantua, he frowned when he saw her holding a torch in broad daylight, and a good number of the trees behind her had caught a bit of flame. And it was a good thing that the ground was damp from the recent downpour. Go, she said, gesturing with the torch. And King cringed backwards away from the flames, and only Garganta knew the sad truth that King was indeed afraid of fire, even though he casted fire magic. Caught by the sudden thought, King removed a hair strand, and then he held it towards Gargantua, and his eyes were glowing with bright cyan color, and the hair strand grew solid, and it took the form of a bright blue chicory flower, and a single tear escaped Winston's left eye, and he took the flower, and he stared at it like a madman, and Virgil too seemed moved, and Winston threw the flower towards the ground, and together with his brother they stepped on it. Screeching until it was no longer visible, still shaking in a fury, Virgil said, "Clever Abel, if you ever show me that flower again, I will pluck out your beating heart." "It was not my intention to accept you so much," started saying King, when Virgil raised his index finger. Jabbing at the Monkey King's chest, he said, "Never call us again, dear Abel." "Will you fight alongside me once again?" asked Monkey King. "Only if you are truly in earnest," said Wisdom. "I am serious," said Monkey King. So that before he was crowned the Monkey King, he was known unto them as Abel. Because not as Cain and Abel, but as all of the things he was able to do. You know? Time, bro?
2 minutes, 10 seconds.
Let's leave it here.
Bye-bye and God bless.
Bye-bye and God bless.